Two Geeks, Two Beers and a Laptop. Episode 5, Freaky Film Franchises.
If we help him catch this snake, then he will help us get out of here alive. And that, amigos, is not insanity. That is common freaking sense.
Spillage, cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to Two Geeks, Two Beers and a Laptop with me, Tom, and Morgan.
Hello.
This week is a bit of an interesting one. We're going a bit rogue.
A diversion from kids' cartoons from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, we've already done a bit too much of that. So this time it's going to be weird or not, or sort of hidden movie franchises.
Yeah, so the idea, we sort of teased it at the end of last week, but the idea is it's movie franchises that you may not have heard of, and kind of hidden gems and secret franchises. So it might be a franchise you've never heard of, or you might have heard of the first movie, but you had no idea that it was followed up by 6 or 7 or 8 sequels.
We wanted to do this because we were fascinated by the Fast and Furious franchise. We weren't going to do much details, that might be a future episode, but just of how in-depth it is for what it is. But we'll start with your one, because you've got several.
I do have several here. So, I mean, the first one that sprung out at me. So, you know the film The Mummy, 1999, The Mummy, which is directed by Stephen Sommers, and it's sort of a loose remake of the 1932 film starring Boris Karloff.
I didn't know it was anything to do with...
Well, you know the classic idea of the mummy,
Yeah.
Wrapped in bandages. That idea is from this 30s movie with Boris Karloff, who also played Frankenstein's monster in the classic Universal Frankenstein movie. Anyway,
but this has Brendan Fraser.
This has Brendan Fraser and Arnold Vosloo, the modern,
I forgot him.
the modern day Boris Karloff, Arnold Vosloo.
Hey, get your ugly face off of her!
So anyway, there's a sequel then to The Mummy. The Mummy Returns in 2001.
I saw that. Yeah.
There's also a third film, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor in 2008,
which no one cares
No
about.
one saw that.
That was without Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz replaced
Same
by
character.
By Maria Bello.
Okay.
I think.
Look, kid, I put down more mummies in my time than you.
You put down one mummy, Dad.
Yeah, same mummy, twice.
Then there was a fourth film in the works, never really happened, it got dropped. They're now, surprise, surprise, developing a reboot. So that'll be a reboot of a remake.
But no Brendan Fraser.
No Brendan Fraser, it's going to be a complete, fresh start. And then in 2002, 1 year after The Mummy Returns, you had this film, The Scorpion King, which The Rock in The Mummy Returns is this character Matthias, who was the Scorpion King, and he's actually a villain in that movie. But this is like a prequel that explores that character's origins.
Okay.
I've come for the woman and your head.
And so that's a spin-off from the sequel to the remake. Alright, so that's what we've got so far.
Already a bit confused.
You're a bit lost. No, most people have heard of The Scorpion King. They've heard of the first film, even if they haven't seen it.
I sometimes forget that was even The Rock. This is back in the day we used to take the piss out of Dwayne Johnson because of his name Dwayne. And now he's become possibly my favourite action star.
This was before The Rock was the saviour of franchises.
Yeah,
when they would inject him. It doesn't always work.
It didn't work with this, did it?
It didn't work with this, and it didn't work with G.I. Joe 2 Retaliation.
Yeah.
But now The Rock is the saviour of franchises, as Fast and Furious proved. People have heard of The Scorpion King. They might not be aware that The Scorpion King became its own franchise. It's kind of like a spin-off franchise, and actually still a thriving franchise through direct-to-video.
Really?
Yeah, so The Mummy, Scorpion King came out in 2002.
Okay.
6 years later, you've got Scorpion King 2, Rise of a Warrior, which...
Is that still The Rock? Or?
Well, no. Misleadingly, there's no Rock, and it's actually, even though it's called 2, it's actually a prequel to the Scorpion King.
Why do they always instantly go for the prequel?
I guess it's because if you lose your star, it's sort of more convincing to go for a younger character.
Okay, fair enough.
So this is a prequel to the Scorpion King, which was itself a prequel to The Mummy Returns, which was a sequel to a remake. The Rock did not return. Dwayne was out of there, and he was replaced by Power Rangers Time Force actor Michael Copon, because but so I think they were aware.
Which Power Ranger was he?
I I'm not even sure which one he was. It was Time Force. It was, but
Oh right, so not classic.
Power Rangers.
The main one.
But obviously they needed a little star power to replace the lack of Dwayne.
Yeah.
So then
he got in.
So the main villain, Sargon, was played by Randy Couture, UFC champion, nobody's favourite expendable.
There's a legend of a warrior who rose up to defend his people and became a king. Now, Universal Pictures and the producers of The Scorpion King bring you the story of how it all began. In ancient times, there arose a fearless warrior,
The Order of the Black Scorpions,
who became the personal bodyguard of royalty. But when his father is murdered by the king, he must destroy the one man he was sworn to protect. From the director of Resident Evil Extinction and Highlander, and starring Randy Couture, comes a heroic tale of loyalty, betrayal, and revenge. The Scorpion King 2, Rise of a Warrior.
I mean, the original Scorpion King wasn't exactly Citizen Kane,
No.
but the sequel...
Makes it look like it is.
Yeah, exactly. I have a quote here from one critic who describes it as cheap, ugly, deadening, lacking even the common decency to be unintentionally funny, its sheer ineptitude increasing with each passing scene. Obviously, based off of this warm reception that it received, and
Definitely another one.
huge box office receipts, they made another one. So in 2012, you have Scorpion King 3, Battle for Redemption. This one isn't actually a sequel to the Scorpion King.
Okay. Well, there's always, when they do sequels and things, there's always words like redemption or resurrection.
Superman versus Batman, Dawn of Justice.
Why does it always have those kind of words in it?
They bloody love a colon. That's all I can say. So this is a sequel to the Scorpion King.
Okay, so this is a third film.
So this is
the Scorpion King.
So this is
trilogy.
a sequel to spin-off, which was a sequel to the prequel of... So it's a sequel to the prequel of the spin-off of the sequel to the remake.
Okay,
This one.
all right.
Michael Copon, he had better things to do. So
Even he was like, do you know what?
Copon's gone.
I'm out.
In his place, you've got, and in The Rock's place, you've got Victor Webster.
Don't know who that is.
Probably best known for his role in Mutant X. Do you remember Mutant X? Mutant X. Mutant X was like, before the Marvel movies, before even the first X-Men movie in 2000, all the sort of rights were up in the air, so people would just make rip-offs, basically.
Right.
So actually, I was looking up, this is produced by this guy, Avi Arad, who later went on to found Marvel Studios.
Oh, wow.
But he made the show Mutant X, which which starred the lead guy was John Shea, who was Lex Luthor in Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman. So it was a real mishmash. Okay. But anyway, so Victor Webster plays Matthias in this one.
Right.
Again, they're bulking up the star wattage. This one actually has quite a good cast, better than the second one. It has Ron Perlman, Dave Bautista, who's now in Guardians of the Galaxy and the next James Bond movie, and our old favourite, little link back to last week, Billy Zane. Billy Zane is in Scorpion King.
Behold, the great Scorpion King.
From Universal Pictures and the producers of The Mummy comes an all-new movie.
We march tonight.
Two brothers at war. One kingdom divided.
I will rise again, and you will be crushed.
And a legendary warrior.
Your mission is to defeat my brother.
Defending his people. In a fight for redemption.
It's time for battle.
Ron Perlman. Billy Zane. Featuring Kimbo Slice and Dave Bautista. The Scorpion King 3, Battle for Redemption, coming to Blu-ray and DVD, January 2012.
And then, unbelievably, it's still going. So, because moving on from straight to DVD, released direct to Netflix, January of this year. Scorpion King 4, Quest for Power. Because again, it's a knockout cast.
Right.
Now, for the first time, you have the same actor coming back to play Matthias. Victor Webster, he's back.
Oh, okay. So
but backing him up, you've got Michael Biehn of Terminator fame,
still kicking about.
Rutger Hauer of Blade Runner, and nothing else of note ever.
True Blood, a bit.
And with top billing, if I was Victor Webster, I'd be a little bit annoyed. With top billing, Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk.
That's what. Is he even? What character is he? I bet he's not even a main character.
Lou Ferrigno. I'm
not. Howard should get the lead in that. Surely.
Well, all I'm saying is Lou Ferrigno's top billing, but when I searched his name, it features nowhere in the plot synopsis. So I can't imagine he's playing a big role there.
Last of the Black Scorpion Warriors.
We need your help. From Universal Pictures and the producers of The Mummy comes an all-new movie.
The crown will be mine.
When a great evil threatens their land, the fate of humanity rests with one man.
I will hunt him down.
I am not the person that you send to make peace.
But yeah, I just find it absolutely fascinating that the Mummy franchise, as it, that form of the franchise at least, is dead. But the Scorpion King spin-off franchise is still going. It lives on. The Scorpion King lives on.
I mean, this will apply to all these ones we're talking about. But who do these films appeal to? Because they're obviously not big enough to be on the cinema or to be that to make much money.
Yeah.
But they're obviously big enough demand out there to keep making.
I don't know if the issue is that the audience isn't there for them, because clearly, like you say, there is an audience.
There's some fans out there.
I think with these ones in particular, where it's fantasy, I think they know they can get away with having slightly lower production values,
right? Okay,
and because people kind of embrace that slightly tacky, kind of tongue-in-cheek fantasy,
like the Sharknado.
Yeah, Sharknado, sci-fi. We'll get onto that in a minute, actually. But exactly that whole sci-fi TV movie vibe, people love that. So it's why would you pay to make a big blockbuster Scorpion King 4 when it probably won't do that well? Or you can stick it on Netflix and probably make a ton of money. So there you go.
Well, it's completely different now. Completely different sort of theme. My first choice of the city franchise, bit girly.
All right.
The Land Before Time.
All right, mate. All right, carry on. So The Land Before Time is, I remember watching these as a kid. And it's like an animated dinosaur adventure.
Yeah, no. Right, the first one.
Yeah.
Right. It was
I've definitely seen the first one.
So 1988. It's probably the only one anyone's ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was directed and produced by Don Bluth, who was like a really renowned
did he do like American Tail and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, he did. I'll get it up now.
Yeah.
He did All Dogs Go to Heaven and American Tail, The Secret of Nim, Anastasia, all really...
Secret of Nim is
Dragon's
great.
Lair, the game.
Yeah.
Loads of cool stuff. So he's like a big deal.
Yeah.
And it was produced by Lucas and Spielberg. So it's a lot of, But since then, it's been followed by 13 direct-to-video musical sequels. The first one wasn't a musical.
No.
And a 14th is on its way.
So 15
and a TV series.
Because I was aware that this was sort of, as we say, kind of a hidden gem franchise. Well, not a hidden gem, but certainly kind of a secret franchise, a franchise that people weren't aware of.
Yeah.
I thought there were about 8 of them.
No, keep going. Like the first one was actually quite... it had no songs in it.
Yeah.
It was quite dark and moving at times.
Yeah.
I'll play you a little clip now.
All right.
Like a lot of Disney films, like Lion King, there's bits in it which go, I'm
not sure that's appropriate for children.
Yeah, and it's a bit where the character called Littlefoot, his mother just dies.
Right, Bambi style.
Yeah, and it's just horrible.
Right.
Mother! Oh. Please get up.
I'm not sure I can, Littlefoot.
Yes, you can. Get up.
Dear sweet Littlefoot, do you remember the way to the Great Valley?
I guess so. But why do I have to know? You're gonna be with me.
I'll be with you. Even if you can't see me.
What do you mean if I can't see you? I can always see you.
Littlefoot, let your heart guide you. It whispers. So listen closely.
Mother?
That's a bit much, isn't it? The reboot. This is all this podcast is doing is making me revisit my childhood traumas.
See, for me, like anything to do with mums or dads, for whatever reason, it always gets me going.
Yeah.
I think as a kid,
Disney love it, and Land Before Time as well.
Yeah. So the first one was actually quite dark and moving and whatever, and it's all about a group of young dinosaurs called Littlefoot, Sarah, Petrie, Ducky, and Spike.
And do all 15 movies follow the same characters?
Different like actors and stuff all the way. But little dinosaurs. The first one was just about them trying to get home or whatever. But then I don't know what. I don't delve much into I don't get the plot of every single film. That's quite a lot.
Once upon this same earth, beneath this same sun, long before you, before the ape and the elephant as well, before the mammoth and the mastodon, in the time of the dinosaurs.
That's the basic thing. And you think, yeah, of course you're going to do a sequel.
Yeah.
Because the first one was probably very, you know...
A lot of great Disney movies have spawned mediocre sequels, apart from Aladdin 2: The Return of Jafar,
which I've still not seen.
Which I maintain is superior to the original Aladdin. Yeah. A lot of people disagree with me. We're not talking Aladdin and the Prince of Thieves. We're talking Return of Jafar.
Not the third one.
There's the third one, or maybe King of Thieves. I'll have to look it up. King of Thieves, Return of Jafar, amazing.
That was 2 wishes. Take your time with the third, or you will wish you had never been born.
I'm getting off topic. Land of Time 2, you can understand why they did it.
So they obviously went for the much more softer and slower to be aimed at like a younger audience.
Okay.
And then they kept releasing these on an average of one every... Because the first one was 1988.
The animation takes a while to throw together.
But the second one wasn't until 94. But after then, there was at least one every year, pretty much. Maybe every other year.
But, so how what's the timeline? So
88 was the first one.
94 is the second one.
94 was the
When's
second
the most recent
one?
one, like now?
So, in 94, it was The Great Valley Adventure. And by the way, I always imagine these in those videos, like, The Land Before Time, The Great Valley Adventure, only on VHS.
Yeah.
So you got The Time of the Great Giving was in 95.
Right.
Journey Through the Mists was in 96. The Mysterious Island in 97. The Secret of Saurus Rock in 98, The Stone of Cold Fire in 2000, The Big Freeze in 2001, Journey to Big Water in 2002, The Great Long Neck Migration in 2003, Invasion of the Tiny Sauruses in 2005, The Great Day of the Flies in 2006, The Wisdom of Friends in 2007, and coming up, Journey of the Heart this year.
But the thing is, that's so what's 6? That's 21 years these movies have been coming out.
Yeah.
Like, any kid who watched the first one, like us, they'll be in their late 20s by now. Is like,
who are they aiming
it for? I can't believe, like, we're not watching these films now, and, like, a little kid's going to be watching Land Before Time 15?
I don't know.
Unless it's a generational thing where you go, sit down, son, watch Land Before Time, like I did back in day. Like, I don't know what the motivation is behind these films.
Welcome to The Land Before Time, the #1 best-selling animated movie series, full of upbeat songs and playful stories about friendship, loyalty, and growing up. With lovable Littlefoot.
Let's go.
Devoted Ducky.
Oh, I believe it. Yup.
Eager Chomper.
Follow me.
Panicky Petrie. Gentle Giant Spike. And sweet but strong-willed Sarah.
A little goofy woofus.
And now, the adventure continues. The wisdom of friends. Explore the fun and exciting Land Before Time collection today. Land Before Time.
So, it also had a TV series in 2007 featuring the actual cast, because I think the last few films have had the same cast members.
Okay.
And that had the same cast. Had 2 sing-along albums and things.
Jesus.
The first sequel had songs written by the Roaches, or Roaches, I never know how to pronounce them. They're like a great Irish-American trio. They're like really good. It's like, what are you getting involved in that for? And then
maybe they thought it could be as good as Return of Jafar. And they had their hopes up.
But it's funny, because Michael Clarke Duncan was in Scorpion King, wasn't he?
I think he was. Let me have a check, yeah.
Because he was in the 2005 film of Land Before Time.
There we go.
He was in Invasion of the Tiny Sauruses as a character called Big Daddy.
Which definitely has my favourite of all the subtitles.
So he was in that.
Yeah, Michael Clarke Duncan was in the Scorpion
There you
King.
go, little link. And in 2007, this, which film was that? That was Wisdom of Friends, that had Sandra Oh and Cuba Gooding Jr.
Why are these great actors?
Yeah. Cuba at that point could have done with a gig. But Sandra Oh was in Grey's Anatomy then, so she did not need to be doing it.
Sideways, Oscar-nominated movie. And
so there we go. And the TV series was only 1 season, but it had 26 episodes in 2007. So not much really to say about it. It's just the fact that it's got that many films. I just find it fascinating.
It's got to be second only to say like the James Bond franchise in terms of just number of movies.
Yeah, I mean it's probably nowhere near in terms of actual gross.
I can't imagine.
Maybe they'll do the Netflix thing next.
It would make sense, wouldn't it? I can't imagine anyone's buying Land Before Time 15 on Blu-ray.
But maybe it's like a My Little Pony thing where there's a massive fan base out there for grown adults, but also a lot of men, like straight men.
Yeah.
Love My Little Pony.
Yeah.
There's a massive thing about it, and maybe it's the same with Land Before Time. Maybe
there's a niche for everybody out there.
Come on, every pony, smile, With sunshine, sunshine, all I really need is a smile, smile, smile from these happy friends of mine.
All right, well, I'm taking it back now, taking back the reins, and I'm going into slightly more adult, very, very slightly more adult territory. Have you heard of this film Lake Placid?
Heard of it, yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like a comedy horror that was released in 1999, and it's about a giant man-eating crocodile.
Come and get it!
Disgusting. Now it's no Jaws. Let's make that clear. But it's sort of like it's tongue in cheek. It's a humorous horror movie. It was kind of split the critics, but audiences quite enjoyed it, and it did quite well at the box office. It was quite a hit. What I never knew is that Lake Placid spawned 4 sequels.
Okay.
All right. So many, in fact, that as I was looking this up, I was doing some research. There's a subsection on Wikipedia called Killer Crocodile Films. Who's looking that up?
Well, how many can there be?
How many can there be?
But are they all in the same?
Not all Lake Placid, just a whole little subgenre of killer crocodile.
Does that include like Hook and Peter Pan?
Maybe it's every single Peter Pan movie.
I hate Peter Pan!
But so unlike say Scorpion King, Lake Placid didn't go the straight to DVD route.
Okay.
It went straight to the TV movie route.
So that you'll see on Channel 5 later.
Exactly. But again, like it took 8 years for some reason. So 8 years on, they decided now's the right time for a straight to television Lake Placid sequel on where else? The Sci-Fi Channel, as we said. So there was Lake Placid 2 starring John Schneider of Dukes of Hazzard and Smallville fame.
Come fall in love with Lake Placid all over again.
I got into this so I could meet sexy eco-warrior chicks who don't shave their legs.
Come for the fishing.
Think you better get another harpoon ready.
John Schneider.
After a while, crocodile.
Sam McMurray.
Let's strap up and go kill us a croc.
Cloris Leachman.
Till you get yourself a warrant, you can go piss up a rope, Columbo.
Lake Placid 2, the unrated version.
Learned it in the Boy Scouts. Not so tough now, are you?
Own it now on DVD.
3 years on, 2010, you get Lake Placid 3, which is directed by this guy, I love his name, Griff First. Griff First directed it.
So they didn't bother creating a funny name for that, or just Lake Placid 3?
Just Lake Placid 3,
Okay.
Then it stars such luminaries as Emmerdale actress Roxanne Pallett.
Really?
Yep.
In these still waters.
I bought a new bikini for this trip, so I have to use it, whether the water is freezing or not.
Lurking below.
How many elk did you say you bossed?
Too many. I'm starting to think it's not a poacher.
A new breed of terror.
There's nothing in that lake bigger than a truck.
Has evolved.
Oh, something bit me! Oh, you're right.
They're smarter.
Hurry up!
They're hungrier.
Teddy, no!
And this time, even more deadly. Colin Ferguson, Yancey Butler, and Michael Ironside.
I'd say that thing's a little bigger than a damn trap!
Lake Placid 3.
Oh, wait, but it carries on because in 2012, then, you have Lake Placid, the final chapter. There you go, that's more like it. Starring Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger in the Nightmare on Elm Street series, and EastEnders veteran Paul Nichols. Nichols and Englund together at last.
After 13 years of unending terror.
You again?
Get ready.
Get out of the water!
For one last bite. Yancey Butler.
This would be a good time to run.
And Nightmare on Elm Street's Robert Englund.
Kitty, 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 kitty.
Lake Placid, the final chapter. On DVD.
But the reason I picked this one in particular is because, you know, the sort of the logical conclusion to all of this madness. In 2015, this year, we had a crossover, Lake Placid versus Anaconda.
Oh,
which,
no.
First of all, that title makes no sense because Lake Placid is a still body of water.
Yeah.
Lake Placid.
Just gonna get him wet.
Lake Placid is not the name of the giant crocodile.
Okay.
But anyway, so are you aware of the film Anaconda?
Yeah, again, I've not seen it.
Right, so Anaconda, released in 1997, a couple of years before the first Lake Placid. Sort of similar vein, it's kind of like a fun, silly monster movie about a giant anaconda snake that eats people. And it stars, again, an amazing cast. Jennifer Lopez, Owen Wilson, John Voight, Danny Trejo, and Ice Cube.
When was this then? So
it's 1997, Anaconda.
What the fuck are you doing? Can't catch anacondas without bait.
So
totally missed out on this.
I quite enjoy it. It's a guilty pleasure, Anaconda, but it got bad reviews. Right. It won a ton of Razzie Awards. So naturally, someone 7 years later, I don't know why there's always these strange gaps. 7 years later, thought, I tell you what, that deserves a sequel. So you've got Anacondas,
like aliens,
The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, starring.
I actually remember this.
Yeah, but starring. I don't know what this weird theme is. Coronation Street's Matthew Marsden. Why? But why soap stars? I don't know why soap stars are always attracted to these movies.
Well, it's like Sam Strike about to star with Stephen Dorff in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, the new Leatherface movie. Yeah.
We're looking for the Blood Orchid. It holds the key to the Fountain of Youth, and it will make us rich.
We're billionaires.
Holy bloody hell. Anaconda.
Anacondas, the hunt for the blood orchid.
It's mating season.
You tell me there's some snake orgy out in the jungle?
But Anacondas somehow got cinematic release.
Yeah, I remember this.
How did this film come out in cinema?
Yeah.
But baffling. So after that, they learnt their lesson.
Okay.
You're straight to sci-fi for the Anaconda series. You then got Anaconda 3, Offspring, in 2007, starring, I shit you not, David Hasselhoff. By this point, they're just taking the piss.
They know what they're doing.
They've gone full-blown parody.
It is one of the deadliest predators evolution ever created. The Anaconda.
We need backup ASAP.
She's about to give birth.
In about 12 hours, this entire country's going to be overrun with baby snakes.
Once you see this thing, you unload everything you can until it stops moving, and you shoot only for the head.
David Hasselhoff, Crystal Allen, Anaconda 3, Offspring. On DVD October 21st.
But much as what was he even called again? Michael Copon ditched the Scorpion King franchise.
He didn't want to be bad.
He had better things to do. Yeah. Even Hasselhoff wasn't around for Anaconda's Trail of Blood in 2009. It plummeted to such a low, and Hasselhoff was replaced by Lyndon Ashby, who played Johnny Cage in the first Mortal Kombat movie.
First, it was discovered. Then, it evolved. Now, terror mutates. Anaconda's Trail of Blood. Coming soon.
So
all these are technically in the same universe, the Anacondas and the Lake Placid.
It's another one, the shared universe,
right,
the Anaconda Lake Placid universe. And Lake Placid versus Anaconda, again, doesn't make any sense, was released, or it was aired, in April of this year. And the plot brief is killer crocodiles and giant anacondas clash in this thriller about corporate greed and science gone wrong. See, everyone says they're shallow. It's about corporate greed. Yes, deep, yeah. So there you go, just utter bonkers horror movie madness.
You can make cinematic universes out of everything.
You literally can. If they're doing Lake Placid meets Anaconda, all bets are off as far as I'm concerned.
Well, back to me. Bit of a change of pace. This is the God of Gamblers series.
Which I've never heard of in my life.
It's from Hong Kong, and it's a comedy. The first one was a comedy drama film in 1989 starring Chow Yun-fat.
Okay, big star.
Yeah. And I'm guessing in Hong Kong, and maybe in the Eastern world, it's a big franchise. I guess it's quite a big deal. But I think we're fair to say that it's not that well known.
Have these films even come out over here in the US and
the
UK?
They probably have on DVD or something, but
maybe they're on Netflix, that kind of thing.
I mean, it's described as a comedy drama, and bear in mind, I haven't watched this.
Okay.
But I've watched clips on YouTube. You can actually watch the entire first few films on YouTube. They're all on there.
Through unofficial means.
Yeah. So you can, if you wanted to give it a go, it's on there. And it says it's a comedy drama, and I suppose there's comedy bits in it. The bits I saw were pretty... The first one, at least.
Right. They've got a very different idea of what comedy is.
越南人，華僑，當過兵，阮文少時期，南越特種部隊，19年上位。
I'll do a description of the first film and then I'll get on to the rest of the film.
Yeah.
So the first one is about this world famous gambler called Ko Chun.
Which is Chow Yun-fat.
Yeah.
Right.
And so renowned and talented at winning various games of chance that he is referred to as a god of gamblers.
Can I just interrupt? Can you be talented at winning games of chance? I'm not sure you can.
Deal or no deal.
Moving on.
Yeah. He keeps his identity secret from the public and avoids taking photos so his face isn't recognised, like, I don't know, Banksy or something.
Alright.
But is known for three characteristics. His slick-backed hairstyle, his love of Fedora brand chocolate, or Theodora brand chocolate, and his jade pinky ring.
Alright.
Make of that what you will.
If people know his characteristics, he's not doing that well at keeping incognito, is he? But alright.
Basic plot, he has lots of rivals, he accidentally gets struck on the head by a fan, not a spinning fan, a fan, fanboy.
A fanatic, yeah.
He loses all his memory and he becomes a bit like Rain Man, and this bloke that accidentally hits him realises he's good at gambling and names him Chocolates just because of his love.
He loves chocolate, alright.
But he realises he's good at gambling and uses him and whatever.
Okay.
But assassins, who are his rivals, are still coming after him.
Okay, of course.
And eventually, after a lot of bloody fighting and his wife his girlfriend gets killed, he eventually gets his memory back. And he takes part in a big game of 5-card stud between him and some rivals. And he apparently gives his rivals special glasses that help him cheat on the game. But then he himself uses special contact lenses himself to double cheat.
Why
this is back in 1989, so how they had special contact lenses back then, I don't know.
Why does he help his right? Why doesn't he just use his powers of skill to win?
I think it's because he wanted to. He was at one point he's faking that he lost his memory and he's trying to get back at these people. It's probably a lot easier if you actually watch it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you had the God of Gamblers series.
So you've now got God of Gamblers 2, Sweet Chocolate.
Sweet like chocolate. You've got the God of Gamblers series, which is the official series. Then you've also got loads of spin-offs and parodies, which then spawn their own sequels.
How many God of Gamblers
so we'll do the official God of Gamblers series first.
Baffling.
So the first one is 1989.
Yeah.
Second one, God of Gamblers 2 in 91.
Alright.
That film continues where the original left off. This time... this is when it gets really complicated. It's already complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, so in between... Before this one came out, in 1990, there was a spin-off called All for the Winner.
In between 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a parody, and there's Stephen Chow who plays this Saint of Gamblers character.
Yeah.
And then the second one, it continues where the original God of Gamblers story left it off, but it brings back Stephen Chow's character from All for the Winner. Chow Yun-fat didn't appear in this film.
So there's God of Gamblers.
Yeah.
Then there's a parody.
Yeah,
and then there's a sequel to God of Gamblers, which features the character from the parody.
But
that's like if you did a new James Bond movie featuring Austin Powers.
Yeah, exactly.
Bizarre.
But Chow Yun-fat's character did show up for a brief cameo appearance using archive footage, if you want to count that.
Okay.
Then you had God of Gamblers 3, Back to Shanghai.
Right.
I think that was 92. Then you had God of Gamblers Returns in 94. Also, this is when it gets fucking ridiculous. Also released under the name God of Gamblers 2, but not God of Gamblers 2 Roman numerals 2. So this is the true sequel to the original God of Gamblers film.
But this is God of Gamblers 4?
Yeah, so God of Gamblers Returns is the first one that Chow Yun-fat came back.
Oh, okay. So
you had God of Gamblers 2 and God of Gamblers 3, which were technically not the official sequel, but they kind of are, because they're not the parodies.
So God of Gamblers 4 is the official sequel to God of Gamblers.
Yeah.
God of Gamblers 2 and 3 don't count, but God of Gamblers 2 features the character from the parody of God of Gamblers 1.
Yeah.
Alright.
Then you've got God of Gamblers...
Just so I'm up to date.
Then in 97 you've got God of Gamblers 3, The Early Sage. We've already had a God of Gamblers bloody 3.
This is God of Gamblers 3 2.
Yeah, but this one was a successful prequel to the original God of Gamblers.
Oh, this is even worse than the Scorpion King.
And it's starring someone else as Chow Yun-fat's character. So again, it's not even... And it says, it may be assumed that this is a reboot to the God of Gamblers series. Just assumed, by the way, because of the inconsistencies with the previously established story of God of Gamblers.
Wait, this is God of Gamblers 3?
Yes.
So God of Gamblers...
The second 3.
So the second third film they made is also a prequel and a reboot.
And a reboot. Yeah.
And then people say Hollywood's bad.
And then they released last year From Vegas to Macau. Is that how you pronounce it, I think?
Macau, yeah.
This film once again stars Chow Yun-fat as a gifted gambler, though his character in the film's plot is unrelated to the God of Gamblers series. However, Chow, in a dual role, makes a cameo appearance as the original God of Gamblers, Ko Chun, at the end of the film. So
it's sort of like a remake, but he features as his character from the originals, but the same actor.
Yeah. So he's been two characters. And then they've got From Vegas to Macau 2 coming out this year.
Which is a sequel to the remake, but sort of a spin-off.
Yeah.
Oh.
We haven't finished.
Oh, what?
This is the spin-off. So remember you had All for the Winner in 1990, which was the one which...
That was a parody that later became part of the main series.
Yeah, then you had, in 91...
There are sequels to this?
Yeah, whoa. Then you got The Top Bet in 91, which was a spin-off of All for the Winner, which was the parody, with only several characters from the original reprising their role, including Stephen Chow, who made a cameo appearance. And then you had Fist of Fury 91, which is Stephen Chow's character as a cameo appearance, so again, it's in the same universe.
Another spin-off, though.
Yeah, and then Fist of Fury 91 2.
Right.
That's just a sequel to the one I just mentioned.
But because it's called Fist of Fury 91,
Yeah.
Is that a remake of the old Bruce Lee movie, Fist of Fury?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So it's probably a remake of that as well?
Yeah. Then you got Fight Back to School. It's not a real spin-off to the Gold Gambler series, except the main characters are played by the same actor duo as in All for the Winner.
So that's sort of like a sister franchise.
Then you got Fight Back to School 2 and 3. And then you got Saint of Gamblers, which is a spin-off of the All for the Winner series. And then you got My Wife is a Gambling Maestro, a parody of the first film.
The very first.
The parody of All for the Winner, which was a parody of...
The parody of a parody.
Yeah. But it's got a completely different cast. And it's got a romantic comedy plotline.
Alright.
So, there we go.
If anyone listening to this has any idea what Tom just said, please do get in touch, because normally the idea is that we educate each other on geeky things.
I don't know.
I completely lost track. I think he completely lost track of the Gods of Gamblers series.
Yeah.
That was just... I'm not going to go at you here, but that was utter gibberish, mate.
I'm just reading off.
I know you are, it's not your fault, but that was utter gibberish.
So, we've got sequels, we've got prequels, we've got parodies, we've got remakes, we've got reboots, we've got new films with the same characters, and remakes of old films of Bruce Lee.
I thought them doing another Spider-Man film was bad. They got nothing on Chow Yun-Fat.
Yeah.
My goodness.
There you go. After a while, I just think people just take the piss and they don't care about, continuity and canon and...
I don't believe the producers have even any clue what's going on anymore.
I think that's just fans who've created a Wikipedia page going, that's totally to do with that film. It's like, not really.
Seeing connections where they aren't there. Well... Oh yeah, this is the last part of this podcast, the final act, and I thought researching that this was complicated. It's nothing compared to God of Gamblers, but this in itself is quite a strange little story to unfold. Dawn of the Dead, 1978 zombie movie.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it, right?
I think I have seen it.
Okay, but you're aware of it, and that in itself was part of a franchise. Because in 1968. George Romero made Night of the Living Dead.
Right, yeah.
And Night of the Living Dead's just an incredibly important movie because it kind of popularised the modern idea of a zombie in much the same way as like the Bela Lugosi Dracula movie created the idea of Dracula as we know him. Same with, again, Boris Karloff, going back to him, his idea of Frankenstein's monster is like the classic Frankenstein's monster.
Yep.
The idea of the kind of zombie shuffling and eating flesh even, that was all Romero. He created the modern zombie. So 10 years later, he makes a sort of semi-sequel, I'd call it. So Dawn of the Dead, which is there's no characters in common from Night, but it's kind of set in the same world at kind of like a later stage of the zombie uprising.
Did they say at the time that this is...
Yeah, it was promoted as a sequel. It's an official sequel. It's just kind of doesn't pick up with the other characters, mainly because they're all dead. So it is a sequel, but kind of like a sideways sequel.
In 1968, George Romero brought us Night of the Living Dead. It became the classic horror film of its time. Now, George Romero brings us the most intensely shocking motion picture experience for all times. Dawn of the Dead. Night of the Living Dead has ended. Dawn of the Dead is here.
It gets up and kills. The people it kills get up and kill.
They must be destroyed on sight.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. Dawn of the Dead.
Then in 1985, there's another kind of sequel along similar lines. No direct ties, but it's set in the same world, which is Day of the Dead. And those three are kind of considered Night, Dawn, and Day. They're like Romero's classic zombie trilogy.
I'm with you.
There's then a couple more films he made later on in his career, which is Land of the Dead and Diary of the Dead. We don't really talk about those. But then there's also remakes each, but like each is like an individual, unconnected thing. A remake of Night, a remake of Dawn, and a remake of Day.
So
and
they're not in the same.
They're not in the same universe. They were all produced individually. No, they're not in their own. It's not like a remake universe. Each film is a separate remake of each film. Although weirdly, Ving Rhames he appears in both the Dawn of the Dead remake and the Day of the Dead remake, but playing different characters. Just coincidence.
I'll take my chances.
Don't be an idiot. Please, there's people here right now could use your help.
Fuck y'all.
Now, this in itself would maybe be enough for this episode, but oh no, it gets far more tangled with zombie, because there's this Italian horror director called Dario Argento, who his most famous film is probably Suspiria, which came out in 1977.
So it's one of the best.
Yeah, it's like one of the most famous international horror movies of all time, hugely acclaimed, came out 1 year before Dawn of the Dead. And so when George Romero was trying to secure funding for Dawn, Dario Argento helped him to secure the money, but in exchange he asked for the rights to make his own cut of the final movie for kind of international audiences in Italy and sort of Europe.
Yeah.
So Dario Argento then re-edits Dawn of the Dead. He puts in new music, he takes out certain scenes and releases it in Italy and Europe under the title Zombie. Now that's weird enough, but here's where it gets really odd, because in 1979, then 1 year after Dawn/Zombie came out, there's another Italian director, Lucio Fulci. He makes Zombie 2, which was marketed as a sequel to Zombie, which is Argento's cut of Dawn.
Okay.
And again, it's pretty much a standalone movie, and it was it's actually called, it's such a standalone movie, it's called Zombie Flesh Eaters in the UK. So in the UK it wasn't treated as a sequel to Zombie, but in Italy it was promoted as a sequel to Zombie.
They're coming back to life. They're everywhere.
Whatever it is, it makes the dead stand up and walk.
Then in 1988, you've got Zombie 3, also known as Zombie Flesh Eaters 2, and this is where it gets really complicated, because I have to directly quote the Wikipedia entry here. So it says, Zombie 3, open brackets, also known as Zombie Flesh Eaters 2 in the UK, close brackets, is the 1988 follow-up to Zombie 2, itself an unofficial sequel to 1978's Dawn of the Dead, open brackets, released in Italy as Zombie, close brackets. So this
is where I think beer doesn't help doing this podcast, because I am lost.
You're lost. This is the second in a series of unofficial sequels to the Italian edit of Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yeah.
And then there were two more films in the Zombie franchise. There's a fourth movie, and then the final one called Zombie 5: Killing Birds, which A, barely features zombies, and B, only one death by bird. So that title is absolute gibberish. I mean, you can probably find it. You know, they'll probably get someone to sell you it down the pub if you're desperate to see Zombie 5/Zombie Flesh Eaters 4. Well, I think that's...
Wow.
That was utterly baffling.
We have had quite a journey today.
Yeah.
We've had everything from kid dinosaurs to God of Gamblers
to flesh-eating birds to Scorpion Kings.
So, again, thanks for joining us,
Thank you.
ever. We'll be back next time. It's going to be... we're going to stay away from the kids' TV show type thing.
For a little bit.
It's kind of kids' TV show. I consider it to be a kids' TV show.
Rude.
Morgan is known as a massive Doctor Who fan, and he's going to be teaching me all about it, because I pretty much know nothing.
I'm gonna present Tom with a sort of beginner's guide to Doctor Who, how you should start watching Doctor Who if you've never really watched it before.
As ever, you can go to our Twitter page, which is @2geekscast, and you can give us requests or just tell us how great we are or whatever.
Yeah, please do.
And there's also 2geeks2beers.wordpress.com is the website, and you can subscribe on iTunes and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right, okay, we always leave you with a little something to play you out, and we've got something here which is related to that last little piece. It's a tune written by Herbert Chappell in 1965 and later co-opted by George Romero for the end credits of Dawn of the Dead. This is The Gonk.
See you next time.